Chai with Manju, with your host, Dr. Manju Sheth.
So honored and absolutely delighted today to welcome Pandit Nayan Ghosh and his son Ishaan Ghosh to Chai with Manju. Thank you. Thank you so
Namaskar,
much.
and likewise, we are very, very delighted to meet you, Manjuji. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have to, of course, start with the extraordinary legacy, the lineage that you guys have. And of course, Ishaan, you are the torchbearer of this fabulous family. You have grown up around music, and I enjoyed reading when Nayanji said that the atmosphere was charged with music. So of course,
Yeah.
you took to it like fish to water. And I loved, Ishaan, what you said, like music was like breathing in your home. So my question, and I'm going to ask both of you this, because classical music is such a tough taskmaster. You need hundreds of hours of riyaz and discipline. For Nayanji, of course, your dad was your guru as well as father, as I said. What was it like learning from him, because he was such a big name in the world of music?
Yeah, the first thing I will say at the outset is I really feel blessed to be born in such a family of very, very distinguished musicians. My father, Pandit Nikhil Ghosh himself, was a great tabla maestro, and he was not just a tabla player, he was a complete musician. And he had in-depth knowledge and skill on vocal music and knowledge about sitar, sarangi, sarod, and so on, and various genres of music like Drupad, Dhamar, Khayal, Thumri, Chaiti, folk, everything. He had a huge repertoire of melodic music and equally huge repertoire of traditional tabla.
Right.
My uncle was Pannalal Ghosh, the father of North Indian flute, the inventor of the flute. And in our family, actually, music goes back a few generations even before them.
Yes.
My grandfather was a sitarist, and great-grandfather, Dhrupad singer and Pakhavaj player, and so on. So, for a child to be born in such a family, there is no really a formal point of starting the talim or the training. It just happens most naturally right from infancy. And, as you said, fish taking to water, that's the right picture for the whole thing. That, one shouldn't be surprised if a child shows remarkable talent or gift for melody or for rhythm at a very early age, as early as 1 or 1.5. It's but natural.
Absolutely.
So it was some time around maybe 1.5 or 2, or maybe around that age that my training must have started. It wasn't formal, like, okay, you sit with a pair of tabla and I sit with a pair of tabla, the guru and shishya. No, not that way. It just happened very organic. And so that natural upbringing in music, added to that was the very atmosphere in my home, which was always supercharged with good music. And my father's friends and contemporaries, his friends who would visit us, like Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab, Ravi Shankar Ji, Ali Akbar Khan Sahab, Amir Khan Sahab, and my father's great gurus, Gyan Prakash Ghosh Ji, Amir Hussain Khan Sahab, Ustad Ahmed Jan Terakwa. I mean, for us, this was kind of very routine.
Right.
And to see and listen to these great masters and hear them not only talk and relate great anecdotes or incidents from their lives, but fantastic compositions or singing or performing, even riyaz. I have seen a whole night riyaz in my home by Nikhil Banerjee,
Wow.
So these are very, very precious things that have added.
Yes.
And right since very early childhood, I got to listen to Ustad Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab. I even sat on his lap, and
Wow.
he asked me, "Beta, gaate ho?" I said yes, and I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I had no idea what a great figure he was, what a historical figure he was. So when he asked me, "Do you sing?" I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Okay, sing something for me." And I sang some Asthai Antara of some Khayal. Then he said, "Tabla bhi bajate ho?" I said, "Yes." And and I recited some tabla composition, and I received a lot of blessings from him.
Wow. And one of the most interesting stories I was reading, Ishaan, was that at night when your dad put you to sleep, he told you all these interesting anecdotes, and you
Oh
actually
yeah,
looked forward to
yeah.
going to bed at night because
Those were
all these stories, right?
oh yeah, and those were actually you can say they were my favorite bedtime stories.
Yes.
When my father would relate these anecdotes of that of all these instances that he saw growing up, or
Wow.
anecdotes even older of the
Uh-huh.
previous masters and all these things. So it was like a
Right.
beautiful fantasy land for me as a kid, and I
Yeah.
loved thinking
Wow.
about that and being engrossed with it. So yeah, I think that was my favorite thing to do.
Actually, initially, bedtime stories, I started with fairy tales, but I saw
Yes.
that didn't really interest him. Now, once
Uh-huh.
he just told me, "Baba, okay, that's enough of that." He said, "Can you tell me something about Tirakwa Khan Sahab?" Or he would say about Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab. "Can you tell me something, how the way you saw him, the way you
Wow.
heard him?" And, he would sleep on my chest.
Oh,
And
oh,
after about half an hour, slowly he would doze off to sleep.
So
okay.
But those stories,
I
uh,
think,
Oh,
yeah. That question about the difference between our
the
training at home.
styles.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's the difference, because if we talk just about the training, I don't think I feel it's similar in more ways than
Mhm.
one. Because again, my process was also mostly through osmosis, and
Right.
and very organic. It wasn't that music was made to look like a chore, that
Mhm.
I've to wake up and be make a big deal out of it and sit down to practice and stuff like that. No, that was never the case, because I think the atmosphere at home was, like you rightly said, was so charged that
Right.
that music felt like the thing to do, and it was just I was always very passionate about it.
Now, talking of concerts and performances, both of you started so early. Panditji, you got an award at the age of 4 at All India Radio, and by the time you were 18, you were accompanying your father on a tour of, I don't know, about 40 countries in around the world. And of course,
I,
Ishaan,
yeah,
you as
those were
well.
great experiences of learning, actually.
Absolutely.
On the one hand, well, okay, one can see it as an achievement or whatever, that you, at the tender age of 18, you're
Right.
traveling and performing at important venues, prestigious concerts, and that's one. But more, for me, it was a learning experience, because every concert I really felt was a different experience, was a
Mhm.
new experience. And soon after the concert, when we would go back to the hotel or wherever we stayed, my father would analyze the whole performance.
Wow.
He would say, "Okay, you did, this was fine,
Mhm.
this was fine, but here you
Mhm.
could have done this."
Wow.
So the training was kind of a continuous
Hands on.
process.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
flying with him on flights, my younger brother Dhruba Ghosh, the great
That
Sarangi
passed
maestro,
away. Yeah.
he's no more now, but
Yes.
we both traveled with him, and on flights
Wow.
we would sit on his two sides.
My
So our training would go on even on flights, or let's say at some airport layover time,
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
it was not just serious talim. It was accompanied by interesting jokes. My father was very humorous.
Wow.
He had a huge repertoire of jokes and incidents, interesting incidents or humorous incidents from his life. So all that brought so much of aesthetics to our training, not just the musical part or the rigorous elements, but also the fun element.
Right. And a
Was
lifetime
always,
of
was
memories.
always.
And
To pick out any one particular concert is very difficult right now at this moment. But yes, some concerts in my life were kind of important milestones for me.
Okay.
One, let's say what comes to my mind right now is one of Ustad Vilayat Khan's last concerts that I was accompanying him. Okay. So he was my father's contemporary and they played hundreds of concerts together.
Right.
But he was a person I looked up to since my childhood as a hero, as a role model, for sitar. And for me to get this opportunity to accompany him, not once, but quite a few times.
Wow.
And one of his last concerts, when I played with him, there were certain moments in that concert. It was at the Tata Theatre in Mumbai. Completely full house, sold out concert. And he was playing in great mood. And at some point of time, there were such subtle musical ornamentations or expressions that he was executing from the sitar. That my teka on the tabla went down to whisper level, almost inaudible, almost. And that made him very happy. And he just looked at me and gave me a broad smile.
Wow.
and softly said, which the audience could hear, was Jeete raho beta. He said, sitar bajate ho na.
Oh my God.
That means a lot. Sitar bajate ho.
Yes, absolutely.
He meant to say that what a sitarist wants at that moment. So that was one. Another moment in that same concert was when he was playing a beautiful traditional old dadra. And when it was my turn to play the laggis on the tabla, and then I set off on my laggi journey, and he was thoroughly enjoying it, and went on blessing me every turn I took of the laggi. He was appreciating, giving me daad, saying, Jeete raho beta, and so on. And at the end of the concert, when he was acknowledging the standing ovation, I stood a little behind as he was doing his adab and, receiving the applause. And my brother Shujat Khan, Ustad Vilayat Khan Saab's son, is like my younger brother. So he was on the Tanpura. He also stepped back a little. I stepped back a little and let Khan Saab, receive the appreciation.
Accolades,
And he just took the mic and he told the audience two things. One was, he said, if this is the kind of appreciation I get, he said, I hope Allah will give me another 10 years of life.
Oh my God.
And I would like to play more for you. That was a very emotional moment. And as he said that, he just turned around and happened to look at me. He picked up the mic again and he said, today what you heard from, he called me Nayan Babu. So he said, आज जो नैन बाबू से आपने जो लग्गियां सुनी, हम बचपन में मीलों चाहते थे
क्या बात है
बुजुर्गों को ऐसा लग्गी सुनने के लिए हम बहुत दूर दूर तक जाते थे. ये खानदानी लग्गियां हैं और नैन बाबू खुद सितारिया भी है और अच्छा तबलिया भी है. He's saying, आज जो बजाया ये सबक है, सर ये तालीम है. So I feel this was something much more than any award.
It's a divine moment.
Coming from such a important, a revolutionary musician like Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab.
Yeah. These are the divine moments in life. I really feel like that. And Ishaan, any memory you want to share?
Well, it's hard to
It's
say
hard
anything.
after this. It's
Yeah,
hard after
after this,
that. I'm
because
just gonna
it's so
say.
charged.
Oh,
One more I would like to
uh-huh,
share. Ustad Ahmadjan
Sorry.
Tariqwa Khan Sahab,
uh-huh,
who known as the Mount Everest of tabla, he lived the last almost a decade of his life in our home. I saw him and heard him 24/7.
yes, I was reading
And
that.
for about 8 years or so. And I also got many opportunities to learn from him and get his talim also.
Uh-huh.
And he was my father's guru. But at one point of time, he suggested to me that I should do my riyaz in a very continued manner and a sustained manner. So for that, he said a beautiful sentence, Beta, riyaz karte rehna, उंगलियों में आंखें पैदा होगी.
क्या बात है, उंगलियों में आंखें पैदा होंगी.
आंखें पैदा
Wow.
होगी. What a great statement.
What a great
Your
statement.
fingers will start getting eyes, he said.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है. Ishaan, can you beat that?
Well, definitely
You
not.
won't even try. You can't
That's
even try.
exactly what I was talking about some time back. That's the difference of
Yeah.
being surrounded by such figures. What do I say? It's I think it's almost impossible to pick any one memory, because I think within a short span of time, I've been blessed to, I think blessed is the word. I've been blessed to be able to be on the same stage as legendary musicians of our times,
Absolutely.
like Pandit Jasraj ji, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab, of course, since childhood with my father, and many other such musicians, much senior to me, maybe generations senior to me. So I think it's something that any young musician dreams about. At least in my generation, I feel very, I feel special.
Pradeep ji was telling me that you're writing or you're planning to write a book about encyclopedia of classical music. I think you absolutely need to write a book about your family. I think it would be, it would belong to all of us, because that is the history of classical music in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that you one day take the time from your busy schedule and write that book.
We definitely want to. It's been on the wish list.
Something more comes to my mind, if we have the time.
Of course.
When I was telling you about the way I got my talim from my father in different situations, as I told you, on the flights or after concerts and so on. Another beautiful experience, he always related his talim, when he would give us the talim, to nature. He would take us to hill stations during school vacation times. And we would choose a spot where there's no one around, not a soul around. And let's say we were facing the west side of from the mountain. And maybe there is another mountain in front, and maybe the sun has just set, and the sky is glowing pink, and the birds returning home back to their nests. And he would just tell me, my brother, my sister, my mother, to sing one note, like give a tanpura support kind of thing. So we would just hum a sa, and he would sing, let's say, Shri Rag or Rag Marwa. And he would sing that, and beautiful, expansive moments, and with us watching that landscape and relating that landscape to the rag, that helped us so much. Today, whenever I play Shri or Marwa, those thoughts come right in front of me. That entire landscape comes in front of me. It helps me tremendously in my performances. Then he would take us sometimes out on that same hill station in the dead of the night,
really?
Starlit sky, and he would tell us, you sing with the open throat voice. He said, sing to the stars,
Wow.
sing to the mountain in front, he said. And maybe Shankara, maybe Rag Adana, he would say, sing aloud. And what an experience. Whatever I sang would come back as an echo after some time from maybe it hit the mountain in front and then came back. Wow. So there was a delayed echo. And those were experiences, Starlit Night, Shankara.
Oh my God. Wow.
And what more can I say? These were beautiful experiences that added to my artistic insight,
right.
to the whole experience of aesthetics. And another example was whenever he taught us a rag like Bhairav, he would say, imagine the high peaks of the Himalayas and the first sun rays falling on the tip of the peak and that golden color. Imagine that.
Visual.
Yeah. And he said, imagine it's the Lord Shiva who is sitting behind those mountains, a whole night of meditation, and he's slowly opening his eyes after his meditation.
Wow.
So imagine that scene and sing Bhairav. That's how he would sing. Yeah. So these are classic examples to support and to supplement.
Add a visual.
Absolutely. And as I'm listening to you, I was just thinking the book, of course, is going to be undoubtedly absolutely fantastic. But now with what we have as audiobooks, imagine if telling that story in your words and putting, everybody calls you the all-round musician, right? I think you're the only one who has that title in the classical music world. Imagine if you sang a little bit, and that audio book would be just unbelievable. So we're going to hold you to
that's
that.
A brilliant idea, actually.
right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
That audio book, I think I would listen to it and won't even know when I fly from United States to India. It's just absolutely. You should really do an audio book as well, because you have such a good voice as well.
Thank you.
I have to say, Ishaan, that I have been following you on Instagram. You are the new generation of superstars of classical music.
Oh, not at all.
And I was telling you, and I'm just so impressed with this young generation, and my daughter, who's 25 years old, wasn't very excited when her dad would play a sitar. And now she's like, Mom, classical music is becoming so cool now.
It most definitely is. That's the right way to put it.
When I was showing her, some of your posts on Instagram, and I was looking at the incredible following that you have, even when you're posting, I think Solapur or somewhere, you're going in your car and you're posting, and there are like thousands of people who have their eyes on you. So, what do you think about the contributions of social media to the world of classical music? Ishaan, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, social media is, first of all, it's a blessing that we have today. And I'd like to talk about it in the most positive aspect, and to highlight those things, because it's a boon, most definitely.
Truly.
And it has, if not anything, I think the most basic feature that it provides is that it provides an equal platform. I'm talking about this from an artist's perspective. So talking about musicians and people related to the arts. So I think it provides an equal platform to artists, regardless of their background, regardless of where they come from, regardless of who they are, etc., etc., etc. So everyone is there on an equal ground, and has the advantage of using this as a medium to put their work out there, to put their music out there, or whatever else they do, and the whole world is there, at their fingertips.
And talking of contributions, we have to talk about your wonderful institute that you have in Mumbai, the Sangeet Institute, where not only there is a lot of teaching, but you also have some of the best bataks I have heard. So, Nanji, tell us a little bit about that as well.
Sure. Yeah, the Sangeet Mahabharati was my father's second baby. After me, 4 months younger to me. And it was, while he was so busy as a performer, as a performing artist, he felt the strong need of proper scientific methods to be applied to music education and authentic material content to be shared with as many youngsters, students, seekers. So with that in mind, he started Sangeet Mahabharati, and then, as time went by, a proper syllabus was established, and then he tackled priority areas like teachers training. He felt even if there were traditional musicians or Khandani ustads who were ready to join him as faculty, he made it a point that they go through the whole course of teachers training, not only for the sake of high quality, but for standardization and also a kind of a uniformity, the method of teaching. So the content and the what and the how of the music teaching method is what he researched upon. Then he felt the need of a proper notation system, a further improvement from what already existed for Indian music, besides, the Bhatkandeji's, Paluskarji's notation systems and other Tagor's notation systems. He felt as that times have changed and we need notations that are more, how do I say, symbol oriented, so that a symbol can almost tell you the design of that phrase or that note. So he used a lot of such signs and symbols.
I have to ask you a fun question, and it might seem very frivolous, but I have to ask you. When I watch you on video, you look so nicely dressed and coordinated. I was watching one of your concerts you probably do it, you'd probably do it subconsciously. I don't know, because the two of you really seem to complete each other. I've seen one concert I think it was in Edmonton, and you had beautiful black kurtas, both of you. Today you're wearing orange, you're wearing brown with that orange kind of stripe there. Now, do you plan what you're gonna wear? You have a stylist, or you just do it or you are so close to each other?
We have I'll tell you a nice fun fact. We do have a stylist, but we have an in-house stylist. Again, that goes to my sister. Because she has an impeccable taste of fashion and photography and various different things. So, no, about kurtas, I think it's like it's more like he selects the kurta that he wants to wear, and the second step is for me to find something similar, or at least something that won't clash with it.
So there is a thought process behind it. But you really, I have to tell you, I have never seen this in my life. You both really complete each other, and without realizing, you can read each other's mind, maybe from playing together, the look. It's just so fortunate to be in that position, right?
Absolutely.
So I have to tell you now, next week is our LearnQuest concert, and it's the 15th year. And they have provided, again, an extraordinary service to our community as well, preserving not just the music, but the heritage. So this time, I think, thanks to Ishaan, we have a lot of young listeners as well. So we are excited. Do you have any
So am
message
I.
for?
One word about LearnQuest. I have
Yes.
observed very carefully. This is a wonderful organization. Wonderful. They have. I was very fortunate that I performed in the very first music festival
Yes.
of
Yes.
LearnQuest. I think probably
Yes.
it was 2006 or something like that. And even earlier, when LearnQuest was being conceptualized, and there was a Baithak concert in Boston, and I was probably the first musician that evening to perform, and a team of people who were conceiving the idea of LearnQuest.
Right. Right.
So that was there has been some long association I have
Yes.
had with LearnQuest, and I'm looking forward to this festival this year, and because especially the music scene has become very exciting now, because once that unfortunate phase of COVID has gone by, I think all people, music lovers, musicians, are looking forward to something,
Fantastic.
fresh, something new.
Yeah. And I like the fact that, the traditionalists like you and all the great stalwarts of music, these young people are keeping those traditions, but bringing their own fresh outlook and using social media and all these, all the resources at their end. So we can say that, classical music is going to be well preserved for generations to come at this stage.
It will. Yeah.
Right. So may I request, on behalf of all our Bostonians, any chance that any of you, well, either one of you could sing for us or say a few lines. That would make the day of a lot of your fans.
Sure, thank you. Okay. Yeah. नीर भरने कैसे जाऊं, नीर भरन कैसे जाऊं, नीर भरने कैसे जाऊं, नीर भरन कैसे जाऊं, सखीर मैं तो नीर भरन कैसे जाऊं, कैसे जाऊं, कैसे जाऊं, नीर भरन कैसे जाऊं.
Thank you. What an honor, what a privilege. You really made such wonderful memories for me, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for coming on this show.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be here.
Yeah.